Frankie Kazarian and almighty Christopher Daniels, collectively known as The Addiction. We are also world travelers, loved by millions, and we both have rears that makes the girls cheer. You're listening to the Potsy and Tino show. Keep listening. And you have permission to worship us now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pots and Pans Network brings you its tag team champions of the world. Tino Gray, Rob Potsy Pochak. That's right, the Potsy and Tino show. Our theme song is always brought to you by Adam's House Cats, called The Wrestling Song. It's available on iTunes for 99 cents. And the reason why I played that lead in tonight, Tino, is because there are rumors that one Christopher Daniels may be coming back.
He came back to Impact last week.
So he's back.
Yeah.
So it made sense to play him.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep sneezing for some reason. It's great TV, I know. So Tino, I'm broadcasting from something completely different than usual tonight. I bit the bullet. And I hate myself for it right now because it's such a big, nasty purchase. I bought, and I didn't just go out and buy an iPad. Okay, I didn't just buy an iPad. Didn't go. Oh, let's go get an iPad Air. No, Tino. I went out and bought an iPad Pro.
Welcome.
And you know, it's funny. I still have an Android TV. I still have an Android cell phone. So I'm not making the switch. But, you know, I am going to say there are certain advantages when you have both. So when I do a convention, I can now accept Apple Pay.
Yeah.
I can accept Google Pay.
You can accept Google Pay with your Apple Pay.
I can send you messages like I just did right there, without even touching anything. I didn't actually send him a message, folks.
Yeah.
But like, it gives you the best of both worlds because, you know, like Google has all of its own stuff that goes on and Apple has all of its own stuff that goes on. So why not have both? Tonight I was just telling Tino, just so everybody knows, you know, here's the, you know, I don't even think we have banners. Oh yeah, we do. We've got our old fashioned what's up.
Oh, you sure?
Well, I wasn't sure because, you know, I'm logged in from something else, so I wasn't sure if it was going to pull up all my old stuff or not. So I logged in on this, and I went out and I bought it, and I'll explain like why we're using the iPad, because I was thinking going forward, you were talking about wanting a way to move to my downstairs area because of your torn MCL. And I was like, well, you know, if I figure out a way to hook up, you know, a microphone to the iPad, it's a lot more mobile than even a laptop is, because you literally only have one cable that plugs into it. You know, it's got a decent camera on it, as I'm hoping everybody can see. You know, so I mean, but my computer tonight, I was telling you right before we got on, and I was like, let's just go ahead and get on the air, because, like, you know, Tino was making fun of me saying, oh, so since you just loaded up the PC, we'll be on by 8:30.
That's usually how that goes.
It is, but I mean, I would show you, but there's some confidential material on here for a comic book that I'm announcing at Fayetteville Comic-Con. So I can't show you what the PC is doing right now, but it loaded up lightning fast today, and it never loads up lightning fast anymore. And yet, as soon as it loaded up, it basically said there's a system malfunction, and it started shutting down all of my apps that were open one by one. So luckily, I had saved almost everything. You know, I say almost because I have no idea if I saved everything or not. But for the most part, I save everything. You know, I'm a video gamer, so I understand, you know, that sometimes the autosave feature isn't as good as it's supposed to be. So I make sure to jump right in and do all that. But yeah, so I finally bit the bullet because all my friends who are into comics and drawing comics and everything else all have iPad Pros. And they all use a program called Procreate. Now, I'm going to tell you the number one problem I have with Apple. You ready? Here we go. So I log in to the App Store, click on search, click Procreate. Procreate's not even the first program that comes up. Okay? Comes up with some other program. That's not the problem. The problem is my Apple account has $15 on it. Procreate's $10. I go to use my Apple $15, and you know what it tells me? Do you want to top up your card? No, motherfucker. I don't want to top up my card. I want to use the $15 that's already on there because I know it's enough to buy that game, buy that thing.
So why is that a problem?
What do you mean, why is that a problem? Now I have to pay for it with real money again.
Wait, so it's top.
So it wouldn't let me use the $15 in credit I have.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought
And it was telling me, hey, would you like to add more money? No. No, why would I? If I have 15 and it's 10, I should be able to buy it. Google doesn't do that.
Yeah, your Android computer didn't let you load up today either. That iPad, the Apple product.
Well, it's a Microsoft computer, so
That's run by Google, isn't it? And Google, Microsoft.
No. They are the three of them are probably the world's three biggest computer companies. I mean, Google doesn't really go after Microsoft in computers, but they do have the Chromebooks now. And Apple doesn't go after Microsoft in that. And Microsoft has kind of said, we won't go after you in phones. You know, either of them. And then, of course, Google sits there and says, we'll go after Apple with phones.
How's that work for them?
I mean, they all want a piece of the pie. And plenty of pie to go around because there's 8 billion people on the planet that have to have some of these devices.
Yeah.
But regardless. So, Tino, did you know what today is in terms of those stupid made-up holidays?
Yeah.
So, apparently, it's 2. Okay?
This what?
It's 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
The first one, sorry, I'm getting used to the camera here. The first one, here, I'll use this hand because it's on the other side. It's National Sons Day.
Yep. And National Daughters Day was the other day.
Well, here's what's funny. National Daughters Day was on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And National Sunday is on Tuesday, which doesn't make any sense. Why isn't National Sunday on Sunday? I'm even going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a joke that I said earlier about it too. There isn't really a National Daughter Day or a National Sunday. They're not holidays. They were made up by Hallmark so that someone would buy a fucking card. That's why they were created. Okay, it's a fact. Secretary's Day is not a holiday. Is Labor Day a holiday? Yes. Okay. Is Memorial Day a holiday? Yes. Those things are meant for our armed services, and they've become national holidays and actually been pushed through legislation to become such, right?
You grumpy ass don't have kids, so you don't get it.
I am someone's kid, asshole. And
No,
this would be the day that would actually mean something to me if that were the case.
Being someone's son and having a son is two different things.
It's still not a holiday.
Okay.
So, but I'll tell you, when I heard about National Daughters Day, I got a little upset because I was like, where the fuck's National Sons Day, right? And then I went, wait a second. Nope, I know what they did there. National Daughters Day is one day a year, but Sons Day is every week.
Nope.
Wow, not even a little.
Nope. That was a dad joke. Nope.
Oh man.
No.
If I had just said Sunday, would it have been better?
No.
No.
Boo.
You're an asshole.
Boo.
All right. So I know I normally let you speak about what's up with you first, but I've already started, so I'm going to continue. Okay. I will give you the rest of the segment. I mean, you're just sitting there listening anyway, so like, why not, right?
Right, go for it.
So I bought this iPad. I literally just hooked it up now. So I mean, like for the last 20 minutes, I was putting in my account information and all that. I made the announcement that at Fayetteville Comic-Con, I'm going to announce a parody comic that I wrote.
Is that the cover that I love?
I'm announcing it there, Tino. So you haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
Yes,
you already told him
it
the
is.
story. You sent me
It
the
is
cover.
the one that you've already seen.
Okay.
And sorry, folks, Tino's gonna get bits and pieces before everybody else anyway, just because we're family.
Yeah.
As you can tell by the resemblance.
But I'm excited. I'm excited for you for that because that's going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait for you to announce that.
So last night I'm a name dropper, but I'm not going to drop his name. But I'll say this: I was hanging out with a guy who basically became a celebrity by creating a specific video game in the North Carolina area. Okay. Not going to say his name. I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
He invited me out to karaoke last night. So folks, that's why we're moving the show to Tuesday nights because while Tino gets his gigs, I have to sing karaoke. So, and Tino, there was only like 7 singers.
I know on a Monday, I figured that.
But it was just our group of people. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome. It was like our own personal concert, but anyways, so he was telling me that he's also got some ideas of things that he's doing. So, we started like blabbing back and forth about what kind of ideas we had and whatever. And needless to say, I'm going to be sending him a care package with a bunch of comic books so you can take a look at them and possibly, plug them on his socials. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You think maybe we can develop a video game?
No. He doesn't want to go back into that at all.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even tell you what today also the second day it is.
Oh no, you didn't. What is it?
It's National Beer Day.
That's for you every day.
Beer not normally anymore. I just stick with the bourbon normally. However, folks, I also sent Tino a text message this morning that said, guess what I finally tried last night? And I got to try El Segundo's Broken Skull IPA.
Cool.
And for the viewing audience, that's Stone Cold Steve Austin's personalized, like he was involved in the creation of that beer. Anytime he does the Stone Cold podcast or anything like that, he's always giving the guests a beer so he can try to get them drunk. Which it seemed like he succeeded with Seth Rollins.
I couldn't tell if that was a new one or if that's one that was an old, because it seemed like they're playing brand new. That's brand new. I'll go back and watch it.
But anyway, so the Raleigh Beer Garden down off of Glenwood South actually has it on tap.
Nice.
So I was very impressed because I hate IPAs.
Me too.
I cannot stand, especially the more crafty beer gets, the more crappy IPAs get. And I can't stand it. But this one was really good. I couldn't believe it, Tino. Like I was like, Steve, you said that this is an IPA, but this isn't an IPA. I wouldn't drink it if it was.
What did it taste like?
Well, I'll tell you what it didn't taste like. It didn't taste like potpourri like most IPAs do.
Okay. Yeah.
So the best way I could describe it is I felt that it tasted like a hoppier version of like a Marzen, which is like the Oktoberfest beers. So just about every company has their Oktoberfest. They make a Marzen style ale, and that's kind of what it tasted like. So I was very impressed. I will drink it again, and not just because I am a Steve Austin fan.
Mm-hmm.
But Tino out there, folks, asked me like what my rating was for it, and I said I gave it a hell yeah. I got you to pop that time.
Yeah.
So all right, Tino. I think that's everything going on with me right now. What's up with you?
So Friday,
All right, we're out of time on this segment. No, I'm kidding.
So Friday, I went back to the orthopedic surgeon, and I do not have to have surgery. So he's pretty much said he was cool about it too. I mean, he's real cool. Like I said, it's Dr. Isbell. He's the doctor for the Carolina Hurricanes, and he was like, look, this is what I get paid for. This is what I do. I do surgeries, but he said the physical therapy is pretty much, it strengthened the MCL and the meniscus. He said the ACL. He said you normally have to have surgery. He said, but if it's not buckling or you don't feel like it's going to buckle, it's not causing you any pain. He said, live with it for a while. If it starts to bother you, come back and we'll talk. He cleared me to go back to walking and going back to CrossFit, going back to my weightlifting again. So I'm excited, very excited about that. I took the day off because I had to take Matthew this morning to the orthodontist, and he had. I had a couple other things to do. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take the day. So I went out to my mom's and went and got some trash for her and some cyclists she wanted me to take to the dump for her. It's pretty much just goofed off all day today. And then Saturday, I'm rolling with friend of the show, Mr. Jason. We're heading to Concord for some wrestling thing. He had another free ticket. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm off on Saturdays.
Well, he had a ticket. Remember, so his dad was supposed to go to the Raw and then go to this thing on Saturday. So he had the extra tickets. And he asked me at Raw if I was free because he only had one ticket.
I see how it is.
Look, that ain't me. You take that up with Jason Ingram.
I think I take it up with my business partner.
I didn't pay for the ticket.
No, Jason's good about stuff like that, man. All of a sudden he shows up and he's like, hey, you want to go do this? And it's like, okay. And then it's like, no, I got it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I am going to, and I've offered. He didn't take anything. So, how normally last time we went and we stopped and ate, I'm gonna at least buy his damn lunch or something. I'm like, look, dude, this is the free ticket you gave me. I'm not gonna, I feel bad.
You're gonna fill the gas tank, and you're gonna, no, I totally get it. And it's funny because like when GalaxyCon came into town, and a buddy of mine gave me a ticket to get into that for the day because I was like, I'm not paying $50 for a Sunday ticket to anything, like maybe a hockey game, but nothing else local, right? So I went up to it and I saw Jason. So Jason and I just started like walking around the convention, hanging out, talking bullshit and all that stuff. And then he's like, man, I'm really getting kind of hungry. And I'm like, yeah, me too. And he goes, come with me. We're going to go get Korean barbecue. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm getting my wallet out. And he's like, no, Rob, I got this. And he knew the guy that was running that booth. And the guy hooked Jason up. Like, he still paid something, but he hooked him up. And I'm like, I work at these conventions and I don't get that kind of hookup. It's not always true because at the Fear Fest show, because I was on a panel with one of the actors from one of the movies, he told me that there was a green room, kind of like when you go to like Jimmy Fallon or something. They got a special room that you go. He's like, get yourself a sandwich. And I'm like, get myself a sandwich. No, the sandwiches here are way too expensive. He's like, they got a green room. Just go in and like if anybody gives you shit, just say that I let you go in there. And I'm like, fuck, okay.
Did anybody give you shit?
No. Like
you just walked in.
I walked in. They had like a catering table of stuff, and I just started like picking what I wanted to eat, and like, and before you know it, I got a whole plate. And one of the people starts looking at me a little weird, and then I just notice that there's like a dessert table, so I grab a couple of the desserts real quick, and then I just walk out the door. Like I walk right by the dude that's looking at me funny. I'm like not even thinking twice about it, just boop boop boop, and just walk. And I got back to the table, and my buddy Billy, who also does comics with me, he's sitting there and he's like, "Where'd you get the food?" And I'm like, "The green room." And he goes, "There's a green room?" And I'm like, "I know. How did we not know about this?" And he goes, "Did you get me anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, you got one of these desserts." You're like, and he's like, should I go get something? I was like, Absolutely. Why not? We're guests at this convention. Go ahead.
Did he go get something?
I think he did. I think he went and got like a turkey. No, wait, he's a vegetarian, so he went in and just grabbed like salad. But yeah, like why not, right? So now I think every show that I go to, I'm gonna friend one of the celebrities, and I'm gonna be like, hey, is there a green room? Okay, where? Like over there? I thought that's where they told me it was gonna be. And then make sure that he tells me where it is, and I'll just go in there and be like, yeah, he told me, yeah.
So this that's cool. So this ought to be interesting because he messaged me. He goes, "Hey, what's your address? I'll come by and pick you up. And we'll ride down early." And then he knows a girl there. They're gonna eat lunch, and then we'll walk around and or mess around till the show starts. I'm like, so who? I thought his brother was going to get it. He goes, I'm like, just anybody? It's just you and me. He's like, yes. I'm like, oh, so it's gonna be interesting. I've never spent like just hanging out with him for a day like that.
I went to a February show for Ring of Honor, and we sat front row. It was just me and Jason. And it's because the last time Ring of Honor was in town, Jason was sitting front row at that show. And because he was part of the Honor Club, so he got early access to front row seats and all this other stuff. And I saw him on the Ring of Honor broadcast. So I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. I'm like, oh, I see how it is. And he's like, oh, you want to go next time? And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Like, whatever. And of course, that's when he almost got beat up by the Briscoe brothers.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I know it's front row again. I don't remember if it's in Concourse. It may be Ring of Honor in New Japan some show.
It might be big time wrestling. It could be anything, man. Like Jason sniffs that stuff out better than like a cocaine sniffing dog.
Like ever going to Concord. Every time I turn around, I was like, it's a Concord. You want to go? I'm like,
Concord is like what, a 2.5 hour drive, and like for some reason every time you try to come home from Concord it takes like 4 hours.
Yeah,
like that's an all day trip for you, man. Like
yeah,
like you're gonna have an interesting time.
Like I said, never hung out with them, so I think it's gonna be cool.
Jason's super cool, man. I mean, he was on the show last week, so yeah. He's super cool. He's super chill. He's super chill until someone if there's a heel that comes up, he's gonna try to attack them. I'm telling you. If they get thrown into your barricade, because what happened was I put my drink down, and the barricade came slamming into us, and my drink splashed up, and everybody because of it. And I was like, and then I was like, you sons of bitches.
And then Jason what's he trying to fight the Briscoes?
Well, I mean, if Jason can get himself a pay-per-view event, like
I'll be calling you from jail in Concord. Like, hey, Jason started a brawl.
So that's Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we're not going to see Venom on Saturday.
Oh, is Venom out this weekend?
Yeah, so tomorrow night I'm supposed to be on a podcast that my buddy Kevin Schaefer hosts. So I'll be doing that. So I don't think I'll be able to go see Venom early like I normally go see the movies. Mm-hmm. It actually comes out Thursday, I believe. And right now I don't have any plans Thursday. So maybe Thursday night I'll actually go up and see Venom.
Where?
Normally I go to North Hills. So probably North Hills if I go.
Because I kind of want to see it at that place here.
Well, did they say that it's one of the 4D experiences?
I don't know. I would like to.
Because I'll tell you, man, I finally went to see Shang-Chi because you kept dipping out. We're busy. I get it. We got families. We got shit going on. But I finally went to go see it, and I went to go see it up in Morrisville because I just happened to be in Morrisville, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go see the movie, right? So they got that little theater in Morrisville called like J&R like movie theater. I don't even B&B maybe. I don't know. It's a very like there's 14 theaters or screens in it, but it's not a big theater.
It's not the one over there by Ruckus.
Yeah.
That's a stone, and that the stone something stone.
So it used to. So I thought it used to be a stone, but they came up like when it came on, it had like something else entirely, and it was not stone anymore if it used to be. But I thought it was. But anyways, so I go to see it, and I buy. I go to purchase the ticket, and they want like $19 for the ticket. No, it's like $15 for the ticket, and it wasn't in 3D, and it wasn't. But then they're like, "Oh, this is in our showcase theater." And I'm like, showcase theater? What the fuck is showcase theater? And they're like, oh, it's our version of IMAX. So it's a bigger screen and everything.
Right.
But it's not IMAX. I mean, like, you get an experience when you go see it in IMAX.
I have never seen a movie in IMAX.
Really?
I've never. That's something I want to do.
So there's truly only one real IMAX in the area. There's 3 places that actually have a theater that says that it's IMAX. But the true IMAX theater is the kids museum. Yeah, Marbles. And the experience that you get there, man, like it's like 60 speakers around the place. So you've got full THX sound, and then you've got the IMAX screen, which is like an 80-foot screen. So it's a much taller screen that you almost are leaning forward so that when you're watching it, you just feel like more immersed. But they've even got speakers behind the screen. So you're getting a fully immersive experience with the sound and video quality. Like the first thing I ever saw there, I think I saw Superman Returns at IMAX. And it's because they actually filmed it using IMAX cameras. And they used a special 3D technology, like all this crazy shit. And the experience was amazing because like it was one of those movies where it would tell you when to put your 3D glasses on. So it was like, oh, okay, so this part isn't in 3D, but now it is. It's things just throwing and whatever. But IMAX, if you actually go to a real IMAX theater, because what they do now, so like what AMC has or what like Crossroads has, they have an IMAX screen, but they don't have the sound experience.
Got it.
So you don't, and I could be wrong. Maybe they've upgraded, after the pandemic or whatever, because why not spend money, right? But but it's one of those things where you just like you don't want to be cheated out of like the IMAX experience if you're going to see it at IMAX. But when I was going to this movie, I was like, I want to see it at 6:00 instead of 6:30, so I'm just going to go and I'll pay the extra $3 or whatever to see it in their special experience. Wasn't anything special about it. Movie's good though. Like it's fun. If you want an actual kung fu movie done in the Marvel method of doing movies, it's a lot of fun. It kind of just takes off and is like nonstop action for almost the entire film.
Cool.
Yeah. Although it has a person named Aquafina in it, and she's kind of annoying.
Well, yeah, because her name's Aquafina.
Yeah. Doesn't she realize that's a Coke product?
Wow. Anyway,
could you imagine if your parents named you Aquafina, like for real?
Yeah, I'd be pissed off. They named me Tino. They named me Aquafina.
Well, yeah, because I mean, your entire life you got called Tito and everything else, like
Tony, Tiny.
I heard a comedian the other day said something like he said his name was like Franklin. Okay, he's an African American comedian. And he says like his name's Franklin, and he goes, and here's what sucks about it. Like we all know that brothers ain't named Franklin, right? So of course, like I'm named Franklin. Everybody thinks they hear something else, or at least they pretend they hear something else. So they're like, oh, Frederick, huh? Oh, okay. And he's like, Franklin. So Tino, we skipped it last week.
What did we skip? Yeah, we did. You got a good one?
I don't know if I've told it before or not, but I think that I've got one that I haven't told before.
All right.
So GameStop used to have an executive team that was a guy by the name of Mike Dzura, Dzura, and Mike Buskey. So they called them the Mikes. So at our conferences, they would go up and have the Mike and Mike show, even though that was That was an ESPN show with Greenberg and Golick, you know, and they would do their corporate visits, right? And I was reading on Reddit this week all about like how GameStop still hasn't done anything to correct their paying processes. Right. You know, like how much they pay their employees, how much they're going to start at for the holiday season. You know, like stuff like that. They're just so out of touch with like what needs to happen and what really needs to be the case. And so I wanted to tell a story that was similar to that. So I tried to tell it on Reddit, and they canceled the post. They just took it down, saying that, you know, they can't have rumors and speculation or anything about the stock prices. And I was like, this has nothing to do with any of that shit. Like, what the fuck are these guys talking about? But so I have my own avenue to tell the story, so I'm going to tell it here.
All right.
So we had a visit with the Mikes when I was running North Hills, probably 2009, 2010. So I mean, like 10, 12 years ago. And what happened during this was like, we had just finished the fiscal year where GameStop said, if you're great at your job, you're going to get a good bonus. Right. So they did this structure that year where it was the bottom 25% of the company got nothing. No bonuses for them. Right. No raises for them. Nothing. Right. But they were in the bottom 25%. Okay. The guy that ran GE, Charles, whatever his last name was, used to sit there and say, you promote the top 20%, you get rid of the bottom 20%, and everybody else can keep their job. That's how he, and Mike DeZur kind of took that, you know, when he first started as like the corporate executive, that's how he wanted to do it. So he sits there and he goes, bottom 25%, no bonus. Next 25%, so number 74 through 50, they all get a 2.5% bonus for the year. Right. Okay. The next 25%, so up to 26, they all got a 5% bonus for the year. And then the top 25% that year got a 10% bonus. So you actually got a sizable amount of money compared to what GameStop gives now for bonuses. Right. And that year, I had to fight for it, but I got the top bonus. And the reason why was because one of the things that you were bonused on that year was whether or not you kept people working for you. It was all about tenure. So if somebody left or somebody got fired, that automatically hurt your tenure portion of the bonus, right? Okay. So I took over 3 different stores that year and didn't fire a single person, didn't lose a single person. But somebody who had one of the stores before me didn't terminate one of the employees that no longer worked there. So guess who it went against? It went against me.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So my boss, Kevin, who I've talked about on these GameStop stories a couple times. Oh, we got a comment.
Yes, Barrett.
Did you, Rob, not get his WWE dividend? So he's ranting. No, I did get my dividend. It was like 48 cents. We're on this one now. Sorry, it's the whole touch screen thing. Yep. I didn't buy the keyboard because it was $300. So anyway, they decided to. So the bonus side there was Kevin actually went to bat for me, and he said, Rob, here's the deal. I'm going to put in saying that you didn't actually fire that guy or that girl or whoever it was because you didn't. And we never thought that it would come down to one person determining whether or not you were in the top 25% or in the 26% of the company. And I don't know how close it really was or anything else, but, you know, like they tried to make it sound like it was that close, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, but here's the thing. The company's not going to blink an eye about 5% of your salary. No. I mean, at this point, it was probably $1,700. And he's like, they'll probably just cut you a check. And I'm like, but he goes, but be prepared for them to sit there and say, nope, finish 26%. He's in that 5% bonus range.
Damn.
Okay, whatever. He went to bat for me. He showed me the email that he sent about it. He got me the extra 5%. So I'm eternally grateful for that $1,700 or whatever it was. And then we get this corporate visit because the company decides they're going to change their bonus structure again. They decide that they want to, you got 48 cents. All I got was 24. Well, I guess I've got more shares of WWE stock than you do. But anyway, so they changed the bonus structure. They go to you now get 1 penny for every $2 in profit that the store does. So if your store does $1 million in profit, you're going to get a $5,000 bonus.
Okay.
No store does $500 or $1 million in profit. They also put into account a 10-year bonus because they, again, wanted to make sure that managers were staying, right? So at this point, if you were there over 8 years, you got, I think it was a bonus, your bonus multiplied by another 200%.
Okay.
So technically it meant that you would get a penny and a half for every $2. Okay. So I calculated my bonus out working at North Hills, and my bonus that year was going to be $1,300 based on the numbers from the year before. Okay. So Mike Buskey and Mike Dezura come into town, and of course I run one of the top stores in the entire company at this point. It's funny. One of the things that always pissed me off to no end is that every year that I was amazing, they never gave anything for you being amazing. But then the next year, they would start something where you could win something really cool. Like, so that year, in sales numbers and everything, I was top 1% of the company.
Wow.
Okay. Now GameStop does something called President's Club for the top 1% of the company. So if you're in that 40 stores or whatever, you get to go on a trip to, like, Cape Hatteras or something. Like it's gotten worse every year, but the first year it was like, oh, we're going to St. Lucia,
Right.
because that's where the executives wanted to go that year.
Makes
Because
sense.
they didn't have to be in the top 1%. They got to go. Anyways, so they changed it. They changed the bonus and everything. And they came into town. And Mike Buskey's in charge of, like, human resources and everything. So he's really excited about this new bonus structure because everybody qualifies for a bonus. Doesn't matter where you rank or anything else. Everybody qualifies for a bonus.
Okay.
So anyway, I sit there and I'm like, I'm angry about it because, like I said, I got $3,500 the year before. Now I'm at best going to get like $1,300. So he asks about it. He goes, "So Rob, what do you think about that new bonus?" And I'm like, "Well, Mike, I got 2 answers for you." And he's like, 2? And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got the answer you want to hear, and then I've got the truth." And I was ballsy back then, man, because, like, you're taking away my money,
Oh, damn.
And he goes, "Well, what do you mean, like, 2 answers? Like, shouldn't the truth and how you feel be the same thing?" And I'm like, or how like it should be. And I'm like, no. Let me explain. So here's the thing. I think that the bonus that we had last year was great because I finished 1% of the company and I got a 10% bonus. For me, Mike, just so you know, that puts it at like $3,500 because I made $35,000 that year. So that's pretty easy to calculate. And on top of easy to calculate, I was in the best percentage, so I got the best bonus. That's, when you're a sales-driven organization that needs to have high performance, that's what you should be bonusing on.
Yes.
But I understand why the company wanted to go to a bonus that was profit-based, because ultimately your performance is your sales and your profit numbers, right? So all that considered and everything means that I understand it, but shouldn't there be a performance kicker on it too? And he goes, what do you mean a performance kicker? And I'm like, well, I've only been with the company like 4 years, so I don't get that big tenure bonus at this point. So because of that, I would prefer it if there was a performance kicker of up to 1.5% of your, or a bonus 200% of your stuff and everything. He's like, Rob, that just doesn't make very much sense. And I'm like, oh really? Like last year, $3,500. This year, $1,700 at max, $1,300 based on what I did last year. And you think that I should be happy with it? And he goes, well, Rob, doesn't that make you want to take a bigger store? I looked right at him and I said, no, it doesn't. It truly doesn't make me want to take a bigger store, because what I'm trying to do here is become part of the community, make people understand that GameStop is a part of their everyday lives, and continue to grow my business instead of being somebody that gets bounced around 3 times like I was last year and never felt like I was sowing oats or making a difference. And he was like, hadn't really thought of that. And then, of course, because there's like 7 district managers walking around or whatever, because every time there's a corporate visit, everybody, it's like you legitimately go to the dog park and you know which dog's in heat because everybody's got their nose up her ass. Right. And that's every GameStop district manager when it comes to like, having to appease the corporate masters, So so I wanted to tell this story here because, like I said, I wasn't able to tell it on Reddit, even though I sent them a letter and I said, hey guys, it's all about perspective. This isn't trying to get people mad at me. It's not trying to get GameStop to hate me or anything else. It's legitimately trying to say that those corporate masters, Mike Buskey and a guy who hasn't even been there for like 7 or 8 years at this point, how he was so out of touch with like the way things work in the real world. Because I made $35,000, he probably made $600,000. He doesn't understand like what GameStop managers deal with. And in fact, one of the other things he said to me was, well, Rob, what if your performance starts going down? What do you plan to do then? Well, I plan to coach and develop my team by using the circle of life, which is what we're supposed to do, and get us back to where we need to be by showing by example, right? And he goes, you know what you ought to try doing? When your team isn't doing as well as you want them to, you should incentivize them. You should buy them a soda if they hit their numbers that day. And I'm like, so let me ask, since you brought that up, do I get to take that money out of the register to buy them that soda? Oh, no, Rob, it's got to be out of your pocket. So I already told you how much money I make, told you how much my bonus was last year, told you that you took money away from my bonus this year, and you want me to spend money out of my own pocket because you think that that's how everybody can live.
Yep.
That was the moral of the story, is that when you look at it just for perspective purposes, the new CEO of GameStop, Matt Furlong, and I do not blame him for this, by the way, is currently paid 50 times what a new store manager is paid. 50 times. Now, again, I am not mad at him for GameStop paying him that. I am mad at GameStop for not paying the rest of their employees what they're worth. And I get it. You want to be a Fortune 250 company or Fortune 500 company or whatever. If you want a CEO that wants to actually be on that board and sit at that table and everything else, you need to pay appropriately. The unfortunate thing with corporate America is that the payment in that situation is 50 times what your frontline worker at the top level makes. Right. And that's like, how bad is that? The balls of that man. He doesn't want to incentivize you, but he wants you to incentivize your delinquent employees. Hey, that's exactly it, Chris Barrett. And I'll tell you, my delinquent employees actually stayed on board and kept me in like the top 5% of the company for as long as I was at that store, actually. So, well, that's not bad. CEO is only making so not 1.75. He makes 2, and then on top of that, that's his salary. On top of his salary, he also gets upwards of, over the next 5 years, $9 million in stock.
What does he do? What does the CEO do exactly?
He goes, look at this. He goes, and then he shoves it up his own ass because he doesn't do shit. Do you know what GameStop has told the stock market for the last 9 months this year? They legitimately, Tino, have flat out said, we're not ready to tell you what our corporate strategy is yet. And yet somehow, idiots on the market still have their stock price at $200. How does that shit happen? We're not ready to tell you what our plan is. And the reason why is because
we don't know.
We're not ready to tell you. That's what it is. We're just not ready. Well, if you're not ready, what the fuck are you doing? Like, isn't it time to put up or shut up? Start telling people what your corporate strategy is so you can actually make it happen?
Duh.
Like, if this were a professional football team and you drug out that for 9 months, you'd have been fired already. You'd have made it 3 weeks. You don't know what the plan is to fix your team? Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck you think you are?
Fuck you.
Exactly. So, all right, Tino. There's this week's GameStop story of the week. It's not a really funny one. It did have some moments, though, and it did absolutely show, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the balls that I had. And there are people that will corroborate that story that I did say that to.
I believe you said it.
That felt good. That felt good to get it off my chest.
Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, so I guess we got to start with this one this week. Well, I didn't update this, but
I'm about to say that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, but Ciampa still has Goldie. So,
yeah,
true. I don't know if I can fix these or not.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah, we're a little behind, folks. Again, it's because the computer didn't want to load up properly.
What are they doing with Mandy?
What do you mean? She was on Busted Open yesterday, and she sounds super excited about her new character.
And I'm trying to figure it out. And then she's like, these hot ladies and those other 2 ladies are not hot.
So
they're not hot.
So the thing that she kept talking about on Busted Open was about how, like, everybody always talks about her looks, and she doesn't want to be noticed as just a looks person anymore. She wants to be looked at as a wrestler.
Yeah.
So I think she's trying to say that these ladies are just as hot as me.
Okay, because I was confused because I was like, no, they're not.
No, and we know this. They're not meant to be, right?
How many Stone Cold IPAs I have? No.
Yeah, exactly. No. Although I'll tell you, just one of those probably gonna. So it's good beer, though. It's good beer.
I'm trying to figure out. So it looks like they really are getting ready to start pushing Steiner's kid.
They're not just ready to push him. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I think he's going to be champion here soon.
If he doesn't become champion NXT, he's going to get drafted. Like, he's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. The kid's good.
Yes.
They're protecting him, but he's good. You know, and I'm still torn about the fact that they didn't just call him Rex Steiner.
But then you said, I didn't realize that's the pronunciation of their actual last name.
Yes. Yes, but they were just going to call him Rex Steiner.
Yeah, but, Vince can't.
Well, it's
Because that's his
because,
last name.
like I said to you, like the reason why they're calling him Braun Breaker, and first of all, calling a new guy Braun after you just got rid of a Braun,
Yeah.
is that just a kick in the nuts to somebody?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, but
It's a
like,
dumbass name.
what's that?
It's a dumbass name.
Well,
Braun
it
Breaker.
worked for Strowman.
Breaker. Braun Breaker.
No. That's a terrible name.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a dumbass name.
I think they're legitimately though, Tino. I think they're really trying to see whether or not they can get him over as a stupid named character.
Yes, because like you said, the kid is good. He's got the fucking genetics, and he's got the fucking talent. Yes, he's still a little green, but he just started. I mean, he came from football to this.
Yeah.
But once he gets give him a couple years, maybe not even that, and he'll be up there.
No, I agree. The kid's got everything it takes, and they're pushing him the right way. Get him to get the rub from the champion, then get him to get on the bad side of the champion, then get him to beat the champion.
And they're also Vince has put down the edict that they're in no way to I was reading because I think that's what Chris is touching on what I was about to say. Vince doesn't want them to in any way mention or that he is even a Steiner. You know what I'm saying? And
so I think there's two reasons behind that, and everybody hasn't even talked about what should be the first, which is Triple H does not like Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
Those two have legit heat. They do not like each other because of things that Steiner said about Vince's daughter.
What did Steiner say?
Oh, dude, he used to say stuff like he was gonna just flip her over, take her, and do whatever he wanted to her, and it's because he was a genetic freak, and Triple H wouldn't be able to do anything about it because Triple H is just a tough guy to your face.
I think in an actual fight, I think Steiner would whoop that ass, though.
I don't think he would anymore. Actually, no. Hold on. Is this pre or post heart surgery Triple H?
Before
if this is pre heart surgery, but like current, like let's say 2 years ago, Triple H would kill him because Scott Steiner, first of all, he's lost about 60 pounds of muscle.
Had a big hole in his chest. It caved in. He's got the
he just, I mean, he's like Lex Luger. He's just like, He
got off the juice.
Like it's what's her name from Doom Patrol? Rita, where it's just like dragging off of him. It's but I mean, he's an old man and barely moves now.
But they did get when he first wrestled, they did get a dog-faced gremlin reference. And Barrett was saying that he ought to do the Steiner. He did do the Steiner recliner last week. They just didn't call it the Steiner recliner, but that's the move. That was the finisher move he did.
Right, but that move is also the Accolade or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that's partly because now they're like, oh, we got a guy that's just as big as Miro, and we're just going to give him Miro's finishing move because we're still trying to stick it to Miro. Now granted, it is his dad's former finishing move or whatever, but I think part of that is that, like, when they were packaging him and he was supposed to be Steiner's kid, like, that's why he wears that outfit. They made him look like the WWE version of the Steiners.
Yep.
So like it's pretty ridiculous, but they're pushing him, and that's good.
One thing I did see online, and it pissed me off. I don't know if it was on the.
I think I posted it. Go ahead and say it.
I don't think you know what I'm about to say. The one of the banned words that Vince doesn't want said on TV anymore is Raleigh, because it doesn't sound prestigious enough of a town. But you would bring your ass here and make money off of Raleigh.
Well, but remember, like 1,700 people walked out after the Charlotte Flair segment. So
they did not, lying bitches. That's another thing that pissed me off. He wasn't even there. His sources, bitch. I was a source. I was there. That place was still packed.
So there was about 14,000 people in it, and for wrestling, it normally holds about 18,000. Part of that's because of the way that they do the design for Raw now. So, they've expanded that wall of video screens and everything to really make it a presentation. But no, it's probably the biggest crowd they've had in Raleigh since we were at SummerSlam. Because even Bully Ray was sitting there talking about how that was the place where the first TLC, tag team TLC match happened, or just TLC match. They didn't even I don't even think they called it a TLC match at it, but it became what ended up being known as the TLC match. Yeah. And that was when Raleigh could get SummerSlam. Like think about that, man. Now SummerSlam has to be in a stadium. So you could put it at Carter Finley and put it in NC State's campus, but the problem is that you still only get like 40,000 people at that. They just signed, what was it, for the Royal Rumble? They got a place that you could fit like 60,000 people in.
Wow.
And they think they're gonna fill it, but they don't have anybody wants to watch anymore. That's not true. They got Big E, and they got Riddle.
I did, Jason. I just can't remember the name of it. Jason's comment. I couldn't remember the name of where we were going.
PWX. That sounds awesome.
What is PW? What is PWX? Is that
Jason will have to tell you.
New Japan?
Yeah. No, it's a smaller brand, man.
I'm excited to tell them about that.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you get to see,
I don't give a damn. I'm a wrestler.
So you have to think that something like that is probably got some of the up and comers that you're going to see in the future, and that's what's exciting about it. So you're right. You said that you had something to say that, and I thought I knew what you're going to talk about, and I didn't. But I've got something else. Then the talk that Hit Row might be making their way to the main roster already. Now, do I think that they're talented enough to be on the main roster? Absolutely. Do I think that they're ready for the main roster? Absolutely not. This is going to go up like a fart in church because Top Dollar is going to show his greenness of a dollar bill. Because I'm worried about the man.
Is Jason not watching NXT with his dad? Does he want to jump on here?
I'm not going to be able to move the.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Like if the PC was up and running, I'd be able to add another guest. But sorry, Jason, not tonight.
Top Dollar. Swerve, I think, is ready.
Swerve is ready for the main roster.
The other guy, I can never remember his name. I hadn't seen.
Yeah, because he's the Genetti.
Yeah, and Top Dollar, yeah, I think he needs a little more. So out of all of them, I think Swerve's the only one's ready. And they're talking about they're already talking about that. You're right, Jason. He is yet to defend that title.
I think he's hurt.
And they're also talking about moving LA Knight up to the main roster too.
LA Knight is ready.
Yeah.
The other thing that I've heard recently is that Vince, Kevin Dunn, and Bruce Pritchard do not ever see Cameron Grimes as being main event. Well, not even main event talent, but main roster talent.
Why?
I don't know, man. Like
he's got it.
Swerve just keeps swerving.
Yeah. Cameron Grimes would so make it on the damn main roster.
He would make it, but unfortunately at this point he'd be Santino.
No, I would say he wouldn't be any more than upper mid card, US or Intercontinental.
He wouldn't even make it that far, man. I have to tell you, he would come in, they would give him like the Intercontinental title, and then he would proceed to work his way down the card. And there are certain talents that are like that. Like at this point, he could make it to NXT champion. He could. I don't see it. I didn't see it when they started doing the whole, like when he became as popular as he did, he really did have a good character. He really did have a good, funny thing. But we all know how funny acts go in the WWE. They move down the card. They don't move up. And I'm right.
I know. It's disappointing.
Oh, of course it's disappointing.
And Barrett says that Knight was ready for the main roster when they signed him. This is true, but they should have never took away Eli Drake, because that he's doing the same character. He's doing the exact same character.
Mm-hmm.
Just
but
LA Knight's a dumb name. I just can't get behind LA Knight.
Well, if I had to guess, I think the reason why he might get moved up to the main roster is because Vince McMahon came up with that name.
LA Knight. Because he's still doing this. He's still doing the same
shit. He probably said, "Don't change a thing, kid. I'll change it for you."
He said, "Let me talk to you," and yeah, and dummy, and you know, it's like all his catchphrases. He's still doing. I'm surprised Vince let him still do it.
Vince probably doesn't know.
Of life.
Vince probably has had 5 minutes with him. Sat there, watched one tape on him. Heard him give a promo and said, "That kid's ready to go to the main roster. Let's give him a name. We're gonna call him Puke."
My only because I was listening, watching something. Yeah, that you popped yourself. They're gonna probably, because of Vince wants this new NXT to be all young, fresh talent. He's probably gonna move the older. I won't say older, but to the main roster. But we've seen more often than not, once they get in the main roster, they don't
know what to do with him.
They treat him like shit. So I'm worried about people like Ciampa or Gargano or all these people who, if they do get moved to the main roster, are they going to get screwed?
So I'm going to tell you what happens with talent like that. Ciampa, Gargano, they're some of the best wrestlers in the world, right? Here's the thing, though. They really haven't shown any personality. Like, true. and when I say they haven't shown personality, I mean, like, look at the transformation of Sami Zayn. He was the biggest white meat babyface that NXT ever had. He even got to go against probably the meanest son of a bitch that was ever in NXT, and I'm talking about Kevin Owens. Both of those guys came up to the main roster. Kevin Owens got a nice push right at the beginning. Sami Zayn got hurt. Vince lost all faith in him for a while. But at this point, Sami Zayn is the MVP of SmackDown. Like, we can talk about, and we talk about how good Roman has been since coming back, at SummerSlam last year. Well, Sami Zayn came back at the same show, and he's been lightning in a bottle, man. But it's because he is willing to take whatever the shit is that they give him. He's going to churn it into something else, and he's going to spit it out in your face, and you're going to sit there and go, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" Because that's what he does. And that's why when you hear that his contract is up in December, he's still getting pushed right now.
They're trying to keep him.
Of course they're going to try to keep him, but they're going to try to keep him as U.S. champion material and nothing more. Like, Sami Zayn, when he put Jeff Hardy's ear loop and stuck it to the ladder, that right there should have been Money in the Bank's end. That's how Money in the Bank should have ended. Like, I'm all for Big E winning it because what they did definitely sparked interest in the Raw product and definitely sparked interest in WWE right now. Don't get me wrong. But if Sami Zayn were to sit there and stranglehold the Money in the Bank contract, are you telling me that by the time they finally had that match where he gets to cash in, you're not going to sit there and cheer the fuck out of him? Like, even if he is the most diabolical babyface ever, like Gene Snitsky punting a baby into the front row of the fans. Like he could do that, and you're still gonna sit there and go, "That shit's entertaining as fuck, man," because he is. Yeah,
I think Owens' contract's up about the same time, and they're
Owens' contract is up. Apparently, the date on it is like January 23rd.
And he's already, I think he dropped they were like,
Oh, he's dropping hints. He's dropping hints.
AEW, like
But-
Mount Rushmore.
But I'm
I know
going to
he's
tell you.
important.
I'm going to tell you the number one hint that got dropped about the idea of Kevin Owens joining AEW was the Owen Hart Foundation signing up to be part of AEW and being something where they're going to have a wrestling cup called the Owen. Because anybody who's anybody knows that Kevin Owens' favorite wrestler was Owen Hart. So you're going to sit there and have a competition called the Owen and not announce the dates for it, Tino. If that thing starts anytime in January, you bet your ass to donuts.
Well, no, because he still have wouldn't he still have the 90-day non-compete, even if his contract
runs out. If he's let go, he's got the 90-day no compete. If he leaves on his own accord, like Adam Cole did, he shows up 3 days later.
Gotcha.
You know?
Well.
And Sami Zayn, same thing. But I'll tell you right now, I don't want to see Sami Zayn come out in a luchador mask and call himself El Generico at this point. He's too fucking entertaining to ever put the mask back on. The mask takes half of his character away from him.
He was entertaining as El Generico, though.
He was, but he was an entertaining wrestler. Now he's an entertainer. And that's
I wouldn't mind him going back to El Generico.
The reason why a guy like Brian Danielson can... Sorry, my light just turned out. The reason why a guy like Brian Danielson can come back as Brian Danielson is because he's already reinvented himself 4 or 5 times as Daniel Bryan and Brian Danielson. CM Punk is the exact same guy he was when he left. In fact, I want to go ahead. We're pretty much done with NXT, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I want to talk about AEW anyway. When we talk about AEW, I noticed something between Wednesday and Friday that I hadn't noticed before because I wasn't really paying attention to it. And that's, we all hear the welcome back tour for CM Punk and the summer of Punk and the whatever bullshit, I loved how Taz called it and basically said, this sucking your dick party. Because that's pretty much what it is. It's everybody in the world. You've got people crying because you're back. So, of course, you're a baby face right now, right? Well, Daniel Bryan, the thing that's different about him is that he's still trying new things in the ring. And the one thing that I noticed between Wednesday and Friday this week is that right now, CM Punk's trying to catch up, and Daniel Bryan hasn't lost a step. Now, granted, that's because it was only 5 months off for Daniel Bryan.
7 years for Punk.
And it was 7 years for CM Punk. But right now, CM Punk is showing his age, and it wasn't something I thought I was going to see. Now, on the microphone, he's as good as ever because it takes a lot more to make this go away. And, of course, being a guy who's straight edge, he doesn't have those problems that all of those other wrestlers did when they started losing their faculties because he's not on drugs, he's not drinking, he's not doing any of that stuff. So his mind is as sharp as ever, which is why he's able to sit there and have those great talking spots. Although even some of those, using Taz's catchphrase,
I think that was more to antagonize.
Oh, it was, but it's a cheap pop move.
How come Mick Foley can do a cheap pop and everybody loves him?
Because they call it a cheap pop for him. He coined the phrase cheap pop. Raleigh, North Carolina, he coined it. He's allowed to do that. That's what everybody expects from him. And at this point, he's a comedy act, right? So, and he actually is a comedy act. Like we've gone and seen him. Yeah. He's amazing at it too. But Kenny Omega, Daniel Bryan opens up Dynamite. How the fuck do you follow that?
You don't.
Because here's the other side of that. Everything that happened on Dynamite and everything that happened on Rampage happened in the same 4-hour span in that building. So So everybody that was watching,
Wait, so
they were all like Rampage was taped.
okay, it wasn't live.
It was not live.
So they sat there, what, 4 hours?
4 hours in that Arthur Ashe Stadium. Dude, there was a 3-hour wait to get merch.
Damn.
And they need to figure that out because either they've got to quadruple the amount of places that you can buy merch or something, but they need to figure it out because they're leaving money on the table.
Yes.
If people have to go back to their seats because they don't want to miss a minute of the action. I can't say enough about how good the product has seemed recently, but like I said, right now CM Punk's still trying to get his wind. He's still trying to catch up. I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me that he has put on like the most stellar performances, but you can say that he has put on great performances for a guy that's been gone for 7 years. The problem that you have with that is that there is a guy on your roster who was gone for 7 years and he hasn't lost a step, and he's 6 years older than CM Punk, and that's Christian. Christian has gone against your best, put together 2 5-star matches or whatever. Dave Meltzer sits there and scores the shit. And you look at it and you go, CM Punk's not there. Now,
Christian is 6 years older than Punk?
Yeah.
Damn.
He's almost 50, dude.
I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, CM Punk's 42. Christian's like 48.
Wow.
Edge is 48. That's why I think Christian's about 48.
Christian looks better than Punk looks old. Christian, that's why I was like surprised me.
I think Punk's gonna realize that he can't have like the punk rock long hair on top and and he's definitely got some gray in the beard. It's okay to have the gray in the beard. I don't, but it's okay to have the gray in the beard. Like Roman has gray in his beard. But Roman's like 36, 30, 38. I don't know. Like he's in his prime, Punk isn't exactly in his prime anymore. And do I think he'll get there? Yes. But what they're going to have to do for the time being, I feel like, is they're going to have to put Punk against guys that can actually carry him or at least help him get his wind up. Because I even said that it looked like Jeff Hardy lost a step during the pay-per-view the other night. And it was probably Jeff Hardy's best match in a while. But it's because he was carried by 2 hosses. Damian Priest is a monster.
Amazing. He's amazing.
When he was Punishment Martinez, I never thought he was going to be anything, but I was like, he'll still make it to WWE because of his size. And now he has actually taken that and become a real character and been able to transform into something that Vince sees money in. And but we got to give Dynamite its credit. It started great. It ended great. The middle was really good. It makes sense as to why it did 1.4 million views. But here's the sad reality of it. At AEW, they're trying to use SmackDown as a lead-in show for Rampage. And that's why they're doing things like starting with CM Punk in the ring on Rampage. And if you look at the ratings for Rampage is doing like NXT numbers. 600,000 people in the second hour, of 750,000 people in the first hour. Like
old when they were on Wednesdays or now.
Well, even now, I think last week's episode of NXT went up again. So
you're saying Rampage is having good numbers, is what you're saying?
I'm saying they're not having good numbers.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying when CM Punk first showed up, they did 1.3 million viewers for that 20-minute segment, and they haven't done anywhere close to that since. Mm-hmm. And their 11 to 12 o'clock hour that they had this past week for their 2-hour Rampage, it didn't go well in terms of ratings. It's 640,000 viewers. That's NXT numbers. That makes WWE sit there and go, what did we tell you? And hell, if they had just waited till Rampage started up, NXT could have been saying, hey, we're putting that number on, Vince. Like, we're beating Rampage.
Yeah. Your
number 1 and number 2 shows are barely beating their number 1 show, but our number 3 show is beating their number 2 show.
Yeah.
And, so it's interesting because if you look at the card, even for that show, the card was good. But people see through things like this trios match shit.
Yeah, I didn't.
Okay, you can't have Christian and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus as a trios because Marco Stunt is the third person in that group. And if you don't want Marco Stunt to be the third person in that group, kick him the fuck out and turn heel.
I guess he's supposed to be their manager or whatever.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I know. He didn't wrestle, so why is he there?
Exactly. You know what he is? He's their fucking stooge.
And when he does wrestle, he gets his ass kicked. They throw him around.
He's a stooge.
It's like 10 years old or
he's
something.
Like Briscoe. He's like Jamie Noble. You know, like he's a stooge. Just fucking give him a cigar or something to walk around with. Apparently, you can't do that in AEW because TNT got pissed off about Chris Jericho wanting to light up a cigar.
What?
Dude, so Chris Jericho said on someone else's podcast just recently that that out of all the things that he said that he wanted to do on TV, the one thing that got shot down by the network was him wanting to pull out a cigar after he, while he was heel going up against Moxley. He was supposed to pull out a cigar and light it up, like as Moxley got thrown in the trunk of the car or something and driven off. And he was supposed to light it up, and they were like, no, you can't do that. No smoking.
Are you serious?
Not now.
Jason says that he's their Spike Dudley. Marco's their Spike Dudley.
He's not even a Spike Dudley. Spike Dudley would at least get in the ring.
What about Spike Dudley or Mikey Whitwet?
He's like a James Vandenberg that doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
See, Chris Barrett said it.
Yep.
Spike Dudley could actually win and be credible. You know who he is? He's their fucking Hornswoggle.
Oh God. No, he's their was Rockstar Spud.
No, the remember the Mil Mascaras with the
the
guy with the horns?
Yeah.
So all right. So I was blown away by the Kenny Omega Brian Danielson match. I'm going to say right now, all this bullshit saying that it wasn't a 5-star match from David Meltzer, who sits there and says Kenny Omega's the 5-star machine and blah, blah, blah. Get the fuck out of here. That's the best Kenny has looked in fucking years. Daniel
carried his ass.
Brian Danielson did more in that match than Kenny Omega by a landslide. And unfortunately, it made the WWE guy look better. And I know he's not a WWE guy anymore, but he looked better. He looked like, had they done what they normally do in those types of matches, and they say, we're going to sudden overtime, like instead of going to the Broadway.
It's another example of him being able to have more creative, and they're not watering him down and holding him back.
But in WWE, he was on the creative team. He wasn't being held back. He's the reason why Kofi Kingston became world champion.
But he looks better now than he did in WWE.
He looks better because he's wrestling. Like that's just it. When he was having matches, come on, his match at WrestleMania was just as good as his Kenny match. Yeah. His match the month after that against Roman made Roman look like a god.
Yeah, it did.
So I'm going to tell you, he looks great no matter what, but he hasn't lost a step. He's telling a story in the ring better now because he's given more creative freedom on how to make the match go. But I mean, besides that, like, he is the same guy. Like he's not going to say yes and he's not going to say no. Wants to leave WWE with their creative license of the yes and no movements, and that's perfectly fine. Anybody who boos that doesn't understand that Brian Danielson is taking care of his family because his wife still works there.
Yep.
Chris Barrett, I think I actually said that to Tino on the phone last week. Put me in the ring with Brian Danielson, and I'm going to get a good match. I wouldn't even have to move. The old statement was that this guy was so good, you give him a broom and he could have a great match with the broom.
I think as they were talking about Jericho.
And the broom's going to get a contract by the time it's over. You know, like that's Brian Danielson. But I'll tell you, the match I want to see now is a match I don't think that we ever thought we would see. And I don't know if we have ever seen it. I don't know if I've ever seen it. Christian versus Brian Danielson.
Oh, it'll happen.
Well, it better.
It'll happen.
But you know, even Christian versus CM Punk, because CM Punk is better on the mic than Christian. Christian's not bad on the mic. He's serviceable, right? Mm-hmm. He gets the point across. He gets it going where it needs to go. But he's not, and you know, like Vince used to call him the creepy little bastard. You know, like the CLB. And they even used that first episode of the Edge and Christian show of that totally reeks of awesomeness.
Yep.
Yeah. So Chris Barrett just said we suck Christian versus CM Punk, but it wasn't the same. No, you're absolutely right. Back then, CM Punk was probably just as good in the ring as Christian, but better on the mic. Whereas right now, the reason why CM Punk wins that match is because Christian knows that CM Punk's going to be there longer. You know, like, I don't want to feel like I'm dogging AEW because I really have been enjoying the product. I do have one thing that I really, really want to say about Adam Cole.
Oh, hell.
No. What he does in the ring is magic. He is like if you were to take Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and have a love baby between them.
Yes.
That is Adam Cole in the ring. But if I have to hear him sit there and say, it's time for story time with Adam Cole, baby, one more time.
That's his thing now, though.
It's garbage. You want to take a top tier talent, you want to sit there and start with, it's time for story time. Me. Fuck that.
Really? But every week, NWO, we had to take a fucking survey.
What else could Scott Hall say at that point? He had to remember one line, man. Come on.
I mean, it's the same thing, dude.
You're right. It's the same thing, except the thing that made the survey good was the fact that you got to participate in it. And see, that's one of the things that the Super Click is missing. Like, they get the Adam Cole audience participation part when he comes down to the ring and he goes, boom, right? And then he sits there and he's down and then he Adam Cole, baby, right? And so if there's one guy that hasn't changed at all since he was in WWE, it's Adam Cole. Everybody else, like Chris Jericho's already reinvented himself like 3 times in AEW. Miro has reinvented himself 3 times in AEW. Malachi Black actually was pretty close to the same character he was when he left WWE. However, I think that was actually a character that he wanted to do, so that's why he took that with him. But Adam Cole is the same exact guy. Brian Danielson's not even the same guy. There's more fire. You just said that. What has Adam Cole done differently? He got in Tony Schiavone's face. Really?
Yeah, that was pointless. I don't understand that.
I mean, Tony Schiavone even said, oh, well, you know, we talked backstage and it was, you know, I'm going to have to bring it up. And I was like, yeah, you should bring it up. What the fuck happened from it? Not a goddamn thing. The matches have been astounding. I've really been enjoying them. Kenny is being taken to a new level, but he's being taken to a new level by WWE guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Moxley, WWE guy. Jericho, WWE guy. Daniel Bryan, WWE guy.
Until Hangman comes back.
And then Hangman's going to have to prove he can carry the company. Because now you got too many hungry former WWE guys.
Yeah.
So that's just it, man. I don't know. Like, that's how I feel about it.
All right. Smackdown.
Well, let's go ahead and do Smackdown and the pay-per-view at the same time. How about that?
Yeah.
So, all right. So Smackdown. Yeah, we're going to take that down. We're just going to talk. So you start with Roman. You get some interaction with everybody, whatever. SmackDown to me, like, it's normally the best or the second best show of the entire week.
Right.
And when I say the best or the second best, I am talking normally AEW Dynamite and SmackDown.
Right.
And this week, I really felt like they just did the go home show.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. That's why I don't even really want to talk about it. But I did like the moment where Paul Heyman's talking on the phone and Kayla Braxton just starts putting the microphone in.
That was hilarious. All of a sudden, out of the corner, he's talking.
Exactly. And he's like, what are you doing? and then we had people like Riddick Moss show up. Now, I want to remind you, Riddick Moss was in the last draft. He was drafted. You want to know where he was drafted to? Raw. So why is he showing up on SmackDown a week before the draft?
I do too, Chris Barrett. Chris Barrett said he loves the Kayla Braxton Paul Heyman relationship. They even mentioned it on the pre-show for the pay-per-view, which was funny too.
Paul Heyman is so good at everything he does for them. He is more valuable than half the wrestlers on the roster.
Are you jealous, Kayla? Are you jealous that I'm talking to another woman on the phone? I mean, he just went. I did. That made me pop. That did.
Yeah, his whole trying to make it into like a sexual innuendo. It's so good. He's so amazing, man.
Yeah.
So all right, I want to just talk about the pay-per-view.
There's two things that pissed me off about the pay-per-view, and you could probably guess the two things that I was very much not happy with.
The Demon losing.
Mm-hmm.
And Alexa losing?
Mm-hmm. The fuck did Sasha come from?
Oh, I was totally fine with that. You want to know why I'm okay with that? Because that feud was already stale.
So
the only reason why I cared about
so she walks back and she gets a title shot now.
Well, I mean, you beat up the champion and the number one contender. They're both going to want a piece of your ass.
That's bullshit.
Just like the rest of us want a piece of her ass.
Bullshit. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that Lexi lost too.
Yeah, apparently it's to get her off TV for a while. She did just get engaged. I have a feeling that her and Ryan Cabrera are going to get married during this time off. So I think that she said, I'm going to want some time off. And they said, good, take it off now. And she was like, no, like 4 months from now. But this allows her to be gone, let's say, until Royal Rumble time, have her music pop and have it be like the goddess version of Alexa again, like,
yeah.
and then get the big pop from that.
I agree with Jason.
Yeah, I'm not even going to put a statement up there because we're going to talk about it. I did post a funny meme today and I'll go ahead and I'll say it on the Facebook group today that said the fans talking about the top rope breaking during the match with the Demon and Roman, and it's saying I didn't see anything, and then it says John Cena.
There are a lot of John Cena memes you can't see. You can't see me memes.
Yeah, John Cena broke the top rope. That if he can't be champ, nobody can apparently. So here's my problem with that match.
Which match? You still got the Kayla thing up. That's all. I didn't know you.
I didn't even mean to have the Kayla thing up. So here's the thing. Remember a couple months ago, I sat there and I said, it'd be really cool with the Fiend. I said, when that red light came on, he was impervious to pain. Remember that?
I don't, but yeah.
And I was like, we saw that match where the entire match was with that red light on and it was garbage. But I was like, if they use that red light to sit there and have all of a sudden he just stands up after taking like a power bomb or something, and he just looks like a horror movie character, that shit would be awesome, right?
And when he started flopping like a fish on the floor, I'm like, is he humping the floor? What's he doing? He having a Caesar? I was confused, and I realized he was supposed to be the heartbeat thing was going. Oh,
yeah.
It can.
And see that's just it. As soon as that red light came on, not just flashes of the red, but I was okay with the flashes of the red light and everything, because it kind of meant that there was power coming into him. Something was flowing through the veins, and I was okay with that. Because again, we all know that the WWE product is TV PG, so it's meant to be storylines, characters, and like.
Oh, it was a cool concept. Once I got it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
But it legitimately was what I said they needed to do with the Fiend. They get rid of the Fiend, they bring back the Demon, and they immediately do exactly what I said they should do. Like it boggles my mind that YouTube sits there and says we get 2 to 5 viewers watching our show live. We get 15 to 25 views of our show every week. And someone in that has to be on WWE Creative at this point. Because like the Demon became impervious to anything. And then he went to the top rope broke off, and the light turned off. Like, the fuck? Like it was the perfect opportunity to have Brock Lesnar's music play.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
And have Roman get distracted by the music and Finn to steal a victory and run up through the crowd, Dean Ambrose style, CM Punk style, whatever you want to say, because the bloodline would have been right there like. And then you got the belt off of Roman because he doesn't need it. You already signed the match with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, the biggest problem that you made when you decided you wanted to do Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns was you had Brock Lesnar's only recourse with it say, I want the title. When all Brock Lesnar would have had to say was, you ain't the head of my table. And Big Dog wants to eat.
So now we know that match is going to be for the belt.
Well, they'd already announced that it was or card subject to change, but right now it's Brock Lesnar versus Roman for the title, and that instantly made everybody go, Finn doesn't have a chance.
Yep.
And then they went through with Finn not having a chance, and that's the problem with it. Like,
after they hyped up that the Fiend has only had what? He's never been defeated as the Fiend.
So they said the Demon had never been defeated, although we know that Samoa Joe had beaten him in NXT. But Vince doesn't look at NXT as part of the real WWE. That's why Charlotte's total title reigns is now 4 lower than it used to be, because she's now no longer NXT champion. So yeah, definitely don't want Brock to get the title because we won't hardly ever see it defended. I don't think we'll see Brock win the title. I think Brock understands that this new contract is under Vince's terms, which is Roman goes over. But the problem with Roman going over against everyone, including Brock Lesnar, is that it's stale. Like, I love the Roman character. I love what they're doing with him. But if he didn't have the title, it wouldn't change his character. Nope. He'd still be sitting there. Like, he would suddenly be the guy going to Adam Pearce and saying, you're going to make this match. And he wouldn't make it for titles or whatever. It would be, you're going to put my cousins in the main event. I'm going to be in the main event. I only do main events. So if I'm not the champion, that champion's not wrestling tonight. Like, that's the type of stuff you can do to still instill the belief that Roman has all the power. And for whatever reason, they don't like doing that shit, and they want you to believe that like it's be all end all. Except we've all already seen that it doesn't have to be all end all. It literally can be, you can change the championship over 4 times in a month and will still believe that it's worth something because of the people that are involved with it. Now, I don't want them to do that, but they can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know what if Brock isn't getting the belt, then I'm interested to see what's going on with the draft. And who comes over to possibly be a contender for Roman Reigns for that title.
The question I have is, how are they going to do the draft? Is this going to be Raw with the first 3 picks of the draft, pick Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods? They pick the New Day, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then all of a sudden, like SmackDown goes, with our first pick, we take Roman Reigns. Okay. And then with the second pick of the draft, because first of all, I hate that bullshit that like stables can stay together. Like with our first pick, we take the Hurt Business. So do you get all 4 guys? Do you just get 1 guy? Do you just get the tag team? Do you like that's bullshit. Like you legitimately, you flat out say, and I know that I've said the word legitimately like 17 times tonight, and I don't know why. But you say that for every 3 picks Raw gets, SmackDown gets 2.
Yep.
I understand the tag team should be 1 pick.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, in fact, you shouldn't be allowed to break them up during the draft.
No.
They should be a tag team. They should move from one show to the other. Okay, cool. But an MVP, if MVP is a non-competitor, can be the manager for Bobby Lashley. But the other 2 people in the Hurt Business got to be picked with the second pick. Because they're a tag team.
Yeah.
Like this whole, we're going to take the entire NWO. There's 72 people in the NWO, Eric. Yeah, but, Thunder needs them, so we're going to put all 72 of those guys on there. Like, that's bullshit. So, but Monday night was pretty much a throwaway Raw to me. It wasn't bad. In fact, it was the 3rd straight decent episode, and it followed probably the best Raw episode.
So you watched it because I remember you texted me and asked me. I'm like, it was good. It wasn't as good as the week before, but it was still good.
Yeah, and you said that the Hurt Business getting back together, they did it in a legitimate way. They really didn't. Those 2 guys they like the way that the match happened.
I don't think Lashley expected that though. If you know what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. It was not a. It was out of nowhere. I mean, they just
so here's the problems with that. They came down wearing Hurt Business T-shirts.
Yes.
Big E looked at them and they were like, "Oh, we're not going to interfere with the match." And then the New Day came down and interfered with the match. Like, what the fuck? Like, then you go backstage and Big E's sitting there. I didn't know this was a family party, or whatever he said. And I'm thinking he's actually getting mad at Woods and Kofi because they ran down and got involved with his match.
Nah.
Like, it was just a bad segment. The match before that, like while they were actually having the match, was good. Like, it literally is like 2 trains hitting each other repeatedly. And it's the kind of match that just really makes you love Big E because you look at him and you go, he's big, but he's soft. And then you see a match like that and you're like, all right, I take it back.
Because they were fucking just
annihilating each other. And now they bring in the Bearcat. The Bearcat, Keith Lee. The fuck is that? Like, I thought Limitless one was fun.
No. There's a reason why they're doing that.
I know. It's supposed to be like a throwback to some old wrestler
who was a big deal for Black people back in the day because he was fighting the segregation and all that stuff. So I mean, it's a real cool story and a real cool tribute.
Did they talk about that?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm okay with it. As long as they don't let you forget that.
No, they talked about it.
Anyways. So, all right. Last week I said we're going to start this thing called Best Match of the Week. I don't think we have to argue what the best match of the week was. The best match of the week was Kenny Omega and Brian Danielson.
Yep.
I do want to ask if you could pick 3 Raw people and move them over to SmackDown and vice versa, who would they be? And this was not practiced ahead of time, folks.
Oh shit. Move them to SmackDown.
Yep, we'll start there. Move 3 people from Raw to SmackDown. They can be a tag team, but they cannot be a faction, Tino.
Drew McIntyre, because I think he's done all he can do on Raw.
Okay. Even though he did point the sword at Big E last night.
Yeah, I don't. I
get you. I get you.
Go
ahead.
Shit. Let's see. I'd get rid of I would move. What's the new tag team? Umberto and
Okay.
I'd move them.
Angel Garza and really. So you only get 3 picks to make SmackDown better.
You said tag team was 1.
Well, no. But again, I was saying 3 total picks, and you're saying that those 2 guys, who probably they'll forget about in the draft entirely, would be your number 2.
What are they gonna do with them on Raw?
I'll tell you. Okay, Chris Barrett's choices were Jeff Hardy, Matt Riddle, and Randy Orton. Now, Riddle and Orton right now, Chris Barrett, are tag team, so they get to count as a tag team.
I wouldn't move them to SmackDown though.
Okay, and then here's Jason's. Jason says Shayna Baszler, Ricochet, and Viking Raiders to SmackDown.
I have to agree with that. Yeah,
all 3 of those are great picks.
Yeah, he did it.
So I'm gonna take Hulk Hogan. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna take Stone Cold.
Don't you remember the first draft on Fox? They asked like the football analysts, and the one guy actually brought up like Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, and everybody's like, you know that one of those guys is dead, and the other one doesn't wrestle, right? But so
who you got?
So all right, who I got? I got this. Ready?
Shayna was my 3rd, by the way.
An excellent pick, by the way, especially with how they finally made her the monster she should be last night. I love how they just, you want to write someone off TV? Just send Shayna out. She's going to start taking men out.
I'd like to see a Shayna and Becky match. That'd be interesting.
We did see it, and it was after Shayna bit her in the neck.
No, that's true too.
So, yeah. Anyways, my 3 from Raw to SmackDown. Okay. I would go. Man, I didn't think about this. Drew McIntyre's number 1. I do think that Drew has done everything that he can do on Raw. So I would move him to SmackDown. I would move Charlotte Flair over to SmackDown. Yes, I do know that means that it would be both major women champions would be on, but obviously you know what that means.
So Becky will go to Raw.
Right. And then the 3rd one, I really do like the idea of Ricochet on SmackDown. Except the thing that you have to remember, folks, is that SmackDown's the A show now. And if they're not doing anything with Ricochet on Raw, do we really think they're going to change his character around enough to give him a shot on SmackDown? No. So unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I go AJ and Omos over to SmackDown.
Wow.
Yes, because you can split them back up, and AJ becomes a championship contender, and Omos can go after that giant dude Aziz or whatever his name is. However, when it comes to SmackDown, I'm going to go first. Okay. I say that you go ahead and you immediately move over Sami Zayn to Raw.
Okay.
I already said Becky Lynch to Raw. And then I would also do, I like the idea of tag teams going back and forth. That's a really good idea. So I'm going to say Primo and Epico. No, they're not there anymore. No, I would move Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. No, seriously, I would. Because Dolph is a guy that like they could give a shot to, and he could run with a championship if they needed him to.
I would move Seth. I would move the Street Profits, and I would also take the EST and move her to.
Wow. Okay. So now we've got Chris Barrett says Roman, Zayn, and Harry Smith. Yeah, he might be drinking whatever I'm drinking. and I'm only joking because I've only had one beer and it's empty. Chris Barrett also says he would take the APA.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, Jason. Raw to SmackDown or SmackDown to Raw. Chris Barrett also said, if you get Hogan and Tino gets Stone Cold, I want Bob Backlund.
I want superstar Billy Graham.
He's in the hospital right now, man.
Oh, here we go. Cesaro. I forgot about Cesaro.
Oh,
damn! I forgot about Cesaro.
So, Jason, I will tell you why I will not move Cesaro. I will not move Cesaro because moving Cesaro to Raw means that he's on the Vince run program, and Vince doesn't see anything in Cesaro. But see, both of us like Ziggles and Rude over. Yeah. Because you could always split that tag team up, even though, they want to call themselves the Dirty Dogs and no one else in the business calls them the Dirty Dogs.
No.
It's like giving yourself a nickname, it never sticks. You got to let your friends nickname you. That's why my nickname's Potsy. Chris Barrett says, me and Mr. Backlund will take the belts and run.
No, unfortunately. No,
and that's just it. Cesaro signed that new contract. He's stuck there forever now, and he's never going to win the championship. And and part of the reason why he doesn't stand a chance of winning the championship is because they won't take the opportunity to get it off of Roman with any of these guys that are well deserving of it. Which means the unfortunate thing there is that the only way he would have a chance at the championship is if they did trade him over to Raw. Vince McMahon changed his mind and saw something in him and allowed him to beat Big E.
And that's a lot. That's not going to happen.
That's not happening. But, like they're touring overseas again now, and they don't have a guy that speaks 19 languages as the champion, and that's just stupid to me. Oh, we should have taken Jinder Mahal.
No, he's working with a.
Oh, you know who we didn't trade that we probably should have? Reggie.
Reggie's a comic. Well, you said he's Cameron Grimes.
He is. However, I unfortunately think what's going to happen to Ricochet is going to be Reggie's tag team partner.
I hope not. I'm disappointed with what they're doing Ricochet, and I think they have something with Reggie too. If they would if they would put him in a more serious light, I think Reggie could be something because he's just too damn.
He's
athletic.
A spectacle.
Yeah, he's too athletic.
He's a spectacle. It's
good point, Jason. Did they just drop that?
So unfortunately, right now, The Miz is on Dancing with the Stars, so we're not going to see anything with The Miz and Morrison until that's over. But that could be good news because if The Miz isn't there to be drafted, that means that he can show up whenever and just be on a program. He was also on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune this week. Which is weird. Miz is too busy being the face that runs the place.
That's AJ.
That's AJ, yeah. That's the phenomenal one. That's... Tino,
done.
My friend, did you want to say anything about Raw from last night? I know that we kind of just skipped over it.
No.
I liked Riddle's backstage segment before his match, especially when the Irish guy went. I've only got one more question for you. And he was just like, I hear voices in my head. They come. But he wasn't even getting the words right.
No. He had his own little beat thing. He had his own little rhythm going. And he's like talking to Randy. And he's talking to him like he's dead. He's like looking in the heavens. This is for you, Randy.
He's like, I'm even listening to your theme song so that I can...
I do enjoy them. I do enjoy this.
Oh, it's too much. It's like he is too good. Did you hear the line from Corey Graves where he said, "Byron, have you tried one of his gummy bears?"
No, I missed that one.
He literally said, "Have you tried one of his gummy bears?" And I think Byron was like, "They're not for me," or something like that. Oh, Tino, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can find us on the socials?
Well, you can find him on the Twitter machine. They're still going. You can find him on the Twitter machine at Potcheck. I am Hootie Fan 91. You can find him on the Instagram. I'm tired. Instagram. He is Rob Potsy Potcheck, correct? I'm
No,
SC
Instagram. I'm Rob Potcheck.
Rob Potcheck. I'm SC Tino on
TikTok.
TikTok. You're Rob Potsy Potcheck.
Correct.
On Twitter, we are Potsy and Tino. On Facebook, it's the Potsy and Tino Show. You can catch us right here on this YouTube channel that you're looking. The Potsy and Tino Show. We're on the Pots and Pans Network. You need to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. You also need to buy the shirt
or the mask. We've got masks.
Oh, we got masks now. I didn't even know that.
We've got masks.
Okay. Oh, buy the mask. I need to buy a mask. I need those. Special delivery, Tina. What the hell? Anyway, we want to say thank you as always to Adam's House Cat for the wrestling song, which is our theme song. You can catch them on iTunes for 99 cents. $5.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
$5 foot long.
We're gonna take one last moment, Tino. How awesome was it to see that Roman Reigns is still so afraid of the unvaccinated that when he went into the crowd, he put a mask on?
I forgot about that.
That was to me, that said more about his character and what he thinks of like the fans for real right now than anything. And I was blown away and I loved every moment of it because I don't know where he got the mask from, but he put one on and would not let people anywhere near him.
Yeah.
Chris Barrett, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that one, sir. We almost glazed over it like a donut.
As always.
Gotcha.
It's only because I'm tired. And as always, you hear Ric Flair.
Oh, Paul gave him the mask.
As always, we hear Ric Flair on the big house in the big hill in the Queen City. And he is saying, woo!
Good night, everybody.